Black history is American history. The contributions of African Americans can be found in every fabric of America, from sports to science, from entertainment to education, from Bunker Hill to Capitol Hill. African Americans have influenced every ounce of American culture and American life. Hello, I'm Anthony Davis, and on this program, we will talk about some of those who made a difference, both past and present, and events that helped make America America. The 1960s were hostile and turbulent times for Black Americans. It will forever be remembered as one of the significant eras in Black history. Some of the most notable faces and names belong to Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Jesse Jackson, Ralph Abernathy, and Malcolm X. One of the moments less talked about heroes is Medgar Evers. Evers was born in 1925 in Decatur, Mississippi, and encountered overt racism on a daily basis. At 12 years old, a family friend was lynched, and the man's bloody clothing hung on a fence for more than a year as a sign of intimidation. While in his teens, Evers watched from a safe distance as white gangs patrolled the streets of Decatur on Saturday nights looking for Black targets to beat up and run down with their cars. After his sophomore year in high school, Medgar followed his brother Charles into the Army. He was assigned to a segregated field battalion in England and France, and soon found himself fighting on Europe's battlefields during World War II. After the war, some Black soldiers refused to come back from France, where they were treated as equals. Some vowed to return fighting. Medgar was one of them. As Medgar said to his brother after a racial incident, "When we get out of the Army, we're going to straighten this thing out." In 1946, after 3 years of distinguished military service, Evers received an honorable discharge, finished high school, and enrolled in Alcorn College in Mississippi, where he majored in business administration and met Marilee Beasley, whom he married on December 24, 1951. After graduation, they moved to Mississippi. Alarmed at the level of poverty and destitution he found among the Black populace of rural Mississippi, he decided to do something about it and joined the NAACP. Evers soon began organizing local NAACP chapters and coordinating boycotts of gasoline stations that refused to allow Blacks to use their restrooms. Evers' organizational skills allowed him to bring together isolated groups of disillusioned individuals and meld them into a unified force. Evers applied for admission to the University of Mississippi Law School, but was denied. This action brought Evers to the attention of the NAACP national leadership, and he was appointed Mississippi's first field secretary for the organization that same year. Moving to Jackson, Mississippi in 1954, Evers worked to set up an NAACP office there in the early 1960s. He organized high-profile boycotts of merchants in Jackson. In 1962, he played an instrumental role in the campaign to have African-American student James Meredith admitted to the University of Mississippi. By this time, threats on his life were a regular occurrence. With Evers' name featured prominently on many white supremacists' death lists, still, Evers remained completely absorbed in the struggle for freedom. His workday often lasted up to 20 hours, consisting of organizing boycotts, marches, prayer vigils, and bailing out those who had been arrested. In early 1963, the Evers home was firebombed. A few weeks later, on June 12, 1963, returning home just after attending an NAACP meeting, he was struck by a sniper's bullet on the doorstep of his home. 50 minutes later, Medgar Evers was dead. Medgar Wiley Evers was a civil rights campaigner and field secretary for the NAACP, whose murder in 1963 prompted President John F. Kennedy to ask Congress for a comprehensive civil rights bill. While Medgar Evers was not the only fatality of the 60s civil rights movement, he became the first martyr to the movement, causing a turning point for many in the struggle for equality, infusing other civil rights leaders with renewed determination to continue their struggle despite the violent threats being made against them. Medgar Evers, a great American. I'm Anthony Davis, and this has been Black History, American History. I'd like to add that I'm a proud alumni of Medgar Evers College in New York City. Thank you for joining us.